This weekend I attended FlightSim Expo 2025. It was at Rhode Island at the Providence Convention Center. Vendors and developers come from all over to showcase sneak peeks behind products, announce new products, let you test products. And this is for both the military aviation side as well as the general aviation side. I'm into aviation on the rotary side of things, so this is going to be what I'm interested in for helicopter aviation and what I think would benefit most people who are strictly interested in helicopter aviation. If you're interested in an overview of the show, head on over to the VR Pilot. He was filming, interviewing, he knows what he's doing, so go over there and check him out. So here I am using the Somnium VR1 headset. It's about a $3,000 headset, but using mixed reality, so I'm actually able to see the cockpit in front of me, physically touching those controls as well as seeing my own hand. Now, I've been recently testing this with the Quest 3. What I'm going to do is build an overhead cockpit, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, set up so that way I can bridge that gap between hand tracking, touching controls that are virtual versus also physical controls. With that, I found a company called Tech Creations. I talked to the owner from Australia and was looking at some of these controls here that I'm going to have set up specifically so that I can have an overhead panel with switches so that I can use that mixed reality. Next up, what excited me is force feedback. So force feedback is kind of where the industry is going now. And Moza, they've had the AB9, which is, you see here, set up. I'm going to do a carrier launch so I can see and feel the type of feedback that it's providing. So you can see it starts to shake, and it's got some power. So I grab on, it's shaking. And I was interested in testing this out for helicopters, however, they didn't have it tested for helicopters. I asked about it, and they said essentially it'll adjust the type of feedback based on the telemetry given from the helicopter. However, without having to need a button to trim your helicopter, I would want it to have force trim built in. Now, they also announced the AB6 force feedback base as well. It's significantly smaller, significantly lighter. It's not released just yet, they just announced it, and it should be out the end of 2025. The AB6 is also a lot less powerful by almost half, and I believe that's going to put it close to about half the price point as well. These things are heavy. I would say it's half the size, about half the weight, the AB6 versus the AB9. I did get a chance to test it over at the Flyinside booth, one of the Flyinside helos, and it worked pretty well. I went over to Winwing to test out their Cybertaurus, their force feedback, and with them they had an adjustable setting for spring tension versus a dampener. So the adjustment on the left is spring and the adjustment on the right is dampener. Lowered all the way, it acted very similar to how a helicopter would feel, and just a little bit of dampening and full spring, full dampening, the thing had a lot of power. It was really giving me some force feedback. That's cool. But what I'm looking for is more so just for helicopters, so this is kind of the realm that I would be setting it up if I were to use this. Now, if you see in the top left hand corner, that's the unit itself. It's big, it's heavy. It's got a lot of power behind them. Both the Moza force feedback and the Winwing, they're expensive, they're big, they're heavy, so figure out a way to have it mounted onto your rig. That's going to be up to you and your solution. For me, for now, I think I'm going to stay with my ProFlight trainer. I was also excited to check out the DOF Reality H3 as well as their H6 with their new upgraded motors. They perform really well. I was excited. I got to use the Moza force feedback on both of those as well. I'm not going to get into the motion and the reviews over that compared to what I have, the D-Mover H4. I'm going to do that in a review of the H4 itself, and there are some things that I like, dislike. I'll go over that another time. But being able to use these products for helicopters with the force feedback in VR, that was also great. Here in this video, I'm using the Pimax Super. They were using it through a laptop, so I don't think I got the best results from it. Shout out to Grinnelli Designs. They're making a fixed wing F100 and their booth was just knocked out of the park. They had it themed, they had memorabilia, they were in uniforms, they were giving out swag, bracelets, patches, and letting you fly their aircraft. They did a great job at theming their aircraft for DCS. So this product is work in progress, and it's going to be released sometime maybe by the end of the year, but it's still working on it. Now, they also had it so that way you can fly their aircraft, and they had a gun cam, so when you fired and pulled the trigger, they gave you a thumb drive to take home to watch your footage. So this was my footage here. And I really don't know what I'm doing in these fixed wings, but it was fun. But this is really what I was interested in. The Miltech Simulations MH60, as well as their mission hub. That's going to be released this month in July of 2025. This is going to be a game changer to Microsoft Flight Simulator, both 2020 and 24, on PC and Xbox. Now, what this is going to introduce is capabilities of being able to do search and rescue, firefighting missions, and all sorts of stuff across all airframes. But the MH60 is where I'm interested. This is going to be awesome. So I didn't get to hear it, I did get to fly it, and they gave us a nice showcase of the mission hub, which I'll touch on a little bit later, but I'll also leave a link to another video I uploaded, a little hard to hear. But that cutter, that's their cutter they created. That's their helicopter they created. It's going to have weapon systems on it, FLIR, all these missions capable. It's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's released sometimes within the next couple weeks. So it's coming. I'll just leave this here, the footage that I recorded, and just check it out. I'm super excited about this. real quick, also super exciting, they got the announcement of the CH53 coming out Q4 of 2025, possibly Q1 of 26. And this here was their mission hub. This is fully capable of editing on the fly, so that way you can use all airframes. And I have a link to the other video that he uploaded. It's a little hard to hear what he was explaining, but if you're interested, you'll be able to figure it out. Phenomenal. First look, can't wait, just a couple weeks away. And then there's this. Airland World, stating to be an everything simulator on Unreal Engine 5. It's actually made by one of the people who were the only people who were able to make helicopters in the old Microsoft Flight Simulator feel real. This is going to be a flight sim, airplanes, helicopters. This is going to be a car sim. I'm imagining racing, trucking, as well as a first-person shooter, looter, survival. There's going to be buying, selling, trading, scripting, open to modders. It's apparently limitless. It's a big promise. Let's see if they can fulfill it. Unreal Engine 5, open to modders, slated to come within the year. So, one to keep an eye on. Can it deliver? I don't know, but this is exciting. I'd love to see another simulator out there, especially on Unreal Engine 5. Fly Shirley was awesome. It's an actual AI program that'll teach you how to fly with proper instructions on how to use the airframe, and it's all live, recorded based on what you do and what you say. You can speak to it, and this was a pretty cool demo, and I'm excited for real purposes for this.
A bit more and pull that pusher front wheel all the way back. You're still a bit fast at 116 knots. Once under training, we'll transition fully to lifter power with the landing.
Lastly, Flyinside announced their Gazelle 341 for release date of July 1st. However, today, on the upload of this video, it is July 1st. There was a little bit of a hiccup, and there's actually an announcement from Roderick himself, the owner. You can read that right here. But the Gazelle is coming. It is supposed to be here now. There was an issue with the update release for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I am so excited for this helicopter. They have some of the best flight models in all of Microsoft Flight Simulator. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This is my review of what I think is most exciting for helicopters, plus that F100.